Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we take a love for movies and television and combine it with very little knowledge about movies and television. I'm your host, Christian. Join me and my co-host, Joseph.
Yellow.
And Jehu.
Cacao!
Doing another Hidden Gems episode this year. We're tackling 2009. There were a lot of big movies this year, like the second or third highest grossing movie all time came out this year.
For sure. So we picked 2009 because the last episode we did was 1999, and we realized in doing 1999 it was the most 90s year of movies. And we were wondering if that was true in the 2000s, and the answer is no, not really. We'll get into it. But there were a lot of big movies this year, but I don't feel like there were a lot of good movies that were like big box office winners.
Yeah, no, I agree with that assumption. Also, when we did 99, like it just, like you were saying, it felt like the culmination of the 90s in that year.
Yeah.
I would say the culmination of the Oddies was like 2005 or 2006.
Maybe.
In film, anyway. 2009, there's a lot of honestly, there's a lot of crap that I remember from later. I'm surprised some of this stuff is as old as it is.
Yeah. I will say, so this might be a good indicator of kind of the beginning of franchisation that's been happening for all the 2010s. You want me to give you a list of the top 10 movies of the year, domestic anyway?
Yeah, let's hear them.
Number 1, Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen. Apparently people really loved Transformers before they realized that they could be bad. Number 2, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Number 3, Up. Then Twilight, New Moon, and then Avatar, which went on to make a lot more money the following year, but in 2009 only made about $250,000. The Hangover, Star Trek, Monsters vs. Aliens, and Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs. So between Transformers, Harry Potter, Twilight, Avatar, eventually, The Hangover, Star Trek, and Ice Age, they're all, either long-running or the beginning of franchise-style movies.
I can't believe that Monsters vs. Aliens was a top 10 movie because nobody who was even in that movie remembers that movie.
I think that's probably true. But you want to know what number 11 was for the year?
Let's hear it.
It's a personal favorite of mine. It's X-Men's Origins, Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
The 11th grossing movie of 2009. If that doesn't tell you the quality of this fucking movie. Or this fucking year. Yeah.
The main thing I noticed from looking at this list is there's a whole lot of movies on it that I think wanted to be the kind of movies that 10 years later people would be talking about being hidden gems, but actually exactly the right number of people saw it. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, even the shit that I think, the only thing on here that I think is A+, unassailable quality that's not a quote a hidden gem is Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
But even the things that I think, were on the better end of things, they have Gran Torino's on this list, Slumdog Millionaire won all of the awards. There's those kind of things. I think they got seen exactly as much as they should have been seen.
Right.
In fact, they might be remembered a little better than they are.
I mean, the one that made me think that was the first guy when you see on the list, 500 Days of Summer. That movie was made to be a cult classic, and it's nothing. It's more people saw it than should have ever saw it. All it led to was 2 confusing Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. That movie's, I think we've discovered how creepy it is. I don't know if we realized it when it first came out, but the longer it's been out, that movie makes me very uncomfortable.
Right.
And I'm surprised it was as big as it was when it came out. But I don't know, maybe we just weren't aware that how much of a stalker creep Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in that movie.
Back, there was a hard switch on what was a scrappy underdog and a stalker, and we've just realized recently that what a stalker is. I think, at least as far as entertainment goes.
And to be fair, I don't feel like he acts any different than a romantic lead in most other romantic, comedy romance movies. He just doesn't end up getting the girl at the end.
Yeah, I will say I think all of that is intentional in this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't think us as the audience fully understood it at that time.
I completely agree. I totally think it went over my and most people's heads at the time. One of the other things I think is also worth pointing out, because as I went through this list, I found a lot of what would probably be, I guess, considered deep cuts just based on how many people saw them in the theaters. But this is also kind of a weird time for movies past their initial theater run, because Blockbuster is already on the decline. Redbox is in its heyday, and this is like the beginning of Netflix streaming really kicking off. And so really the shittiest, cheapest movies that could be found were found on Redbox and Netflix, and that's where I fucking watched them because I was a broke college student.
So what is your first underrated film, Joseph? Your first hidden gem, if you will.
Yeah, if I had to start somewhere, I mean, like, again, that's the thing. There's a lot of stuff that I think made enough money to be acknowledged and not a hidden gem. Like, even District 9 made $115 million, which is fine for that.
I mean, that one's exactly kind of like what I'm talking about. I mean, like, yeah, that movie is a really good movie, but everybody who should appreciate it already appreciate it.
Agreed, yeah. So the first one that I have on my list with $42 million is Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell.
I think we all really like it, and people absolutely should see it. I definitely think it's forgotten, and it should be remembered.
Agreed, yeah. I mean, one, it's a very Raimi execution of kind of a standard horror movie where he dials up, both like the things that I feel like people make fun of horror movies for, things they don't like about them. Sam Raimi just leans into, which is just a ridiculous amount of like jump scares and jump scare humor and gross out scenes. But like somehow it works in this movie. I don't know. It's a surprisingly good time as somebody who has never liked horror movies and particularly didn't like them at this point in time.
Yeah, I feel like this one was like he had made the 3 Spider-Man movies and he was like, okay, I got to come back and do something to really show people what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he did. He did.
The next one, and this one is arguably has enough of a following, but Jason Reitman's Up in the Air, which I don't ever really want to see again because it's too damn sad, but it is a good movie. That guy makes good movies.
Yeah, George's on my list.
Yeah, go ahead.
But it is just terribly sad. I've watched it a couple of times, but it's been a few years because I just can't. I don't want to be that depressed.
Agreed. Yeah, that's kind of the tough bit about. I think you should watch it once, but I don't know if I'll ever go back to it. George Clooney is really solid in this. We get over the fact that Anna Kendrick is in it. It's worth a watch.
See, I think Anna Kendrick's pretty good in this movie, and I had high hopes for her coming out of it. Now, those hopes have been totally dashed and ruined, but at the time, I was like, oh, this girl can act. Like,
right.
I expect her to go on to big things, and I mean, she did go on to big things. They're just not the things I wanted her to go on to.
Yeah, I might be tainted by present day.
I don't know. I think this might say something about my mental state at the time because I don't remember this being that depressing.
Oh, jeez.
It's about a guy who fires people for a living, Jehu.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. It didn't bum me out that much,
The scene where he meets the pilot is the saddest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, I can't watch that scene. It hurts me. The next one that I have on my list is The Fourth Kind, which I know Christian is also on board with me for, which is another horror movie, which is odd for me.
Yeah, this one's on my list to talk about. I like this movie a whole lot. I think it's pretty good.
It's shot in kind of it presents itself as like a mockumentary of like not a mockumentary of a dramatization of real events. And then at specific points in the movie, it will do like a side cut of the dramatization, quote unquote, and then again, quote unquote, the video footage of the real event. And it's a surprisingly effective storytelling technique. I think even in 2009, like the mockumentary horror style was already like, okay, we've done this. But I thought this was a pretty good twist on it, and I think it's a really fucking creepy ass movie set in Alaska.
This movie, I don't know. I think it is definitely the superior format to that found footage type style of filmmaking. Right. It definitely Paranormal Activity came out a couple years earlier and kind of gave it new life. And you're right. Probably by 2009, it was already tainted and we were done with it again. But this movie, not being that straight found footage movie, when they use that kind of style of filmmaking, it still carries the horror, but it doesn't have like the boredom or the what would be the word? Just, exhaustive, lazy nature that kind of comes with, I think, found footage movies, because we've seen them so much.
Right. I wrote down The Wrestler not because I want to talk about it, because I feel like enough people have seen it, but it didn't make very much money. I was kind of surprised by that for how much shit it won.
Yeah, it was definitely like, it got a lot of hype, but it didn't put the asses in the seats. But it's a good movie. I'll never watch that scene with the meat cutter again. But it's a movie worth watching. Everybody in it's good. Marissa Tomei is good. Mickey Rourke is good. Mickey Rourke capitalized off this, like not at all, not even slightly. He was an Iron Man 2. Right. This was like Dreamgirls is to Eddie Murphy. Like, they got this, they had this moment, and it's like, oh man, now it's the point where they're going to make a comeback and they're going to be the thing, and then they just capitalized on it. Not at all.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about, I think, I'm basing this on one of you guys having watched it, but one that I also think got kind of misinterpreted at the time it came out, and may have been recontextualized with time, is Seth Rogen's Observe and Report.
Yeah, I remember watching this, and it was fucking dark. It's weird that this came out the same year as Up in the Air, because I remember this one thinking, man, this is some depressing fucking shit.
Yeah. I remember it came out pretty similar time to Paul Blart Mall Cop, and I think most people, including myself, thought this is like, oh, it's that two studios making the same movie at the same time thing. But my understanding is that's not what this movie is. It's not like a goofy, like, oh, look at this, fat, goofy mall cop. He can't do anything. This is like a mental illness thing.
It's closer to Taxi Driver than it is to Paul Blart.
I've never seen this movie. I just hear that it's like way darker than it was advertised, and way darker than people anticipated.
But Seth Rogen's in it. How could it be dark? One, I don't know if it's a hidden gem, because I think that if anybody's a fan of Wes Anderson films, they know about Fantastic Mr. Fox, but it only made $18 million. So I feel like it's still a kind of a hidden gem. It's his first stop motion movie. He's since made Isle of Dogs. It's also George Clooney. I know you love this movie, Hurt.
I do love this movie. I do think it's an underrated gem, because I think everyone should see it and everyone should love it. It's my favorite of the Wes Anderson movies. I do get what you're saying, that, kind of like, all his fans saw this, but I think this is one of his movies that can be appreciated outside of his shtick. Yeah, I love this movie.
Yeah, it's a great film. I'm not positive, but it was on Disney Plus. It was like one of the first Fox movies put on there. You should check it out. It's a good time.
The next one on the list, I think, is also one that's really. I don't even really want to advocate for it too much, because I think it's an okay movie. I just think it was probably a kind of Oscar baity, but kind of progressive for the time. It was the movie Milk, about Harvey Milk, the first openly gay man elected to public office. It's a well done, it's kind of like a standard, like, biographical kind of thing, but literally everyone in the cast is a terrible person. It's got Sean Penn, Josh Brolin, and James Franco as some of the leads in this movie, and I'm just like, ooh.
When did Josh Brolin become a terrible person?
I'm fairly certain he's also beaten up women. We'd have to look that up, but
I don't know. He's very stumpy. I don't think he has the reach to beat anybody.
And Emile Hirsch, who I just generally hate.
Right.
So I don't know if this movie's aged well in that context, but it's not a bad movie.
I think it is a bad movie. It is you kind of hinted at this, but it's the definition of Oscar bait. And I think the movie suffers from it. Like, it was only made for the purpose of winning awards. And when a movie's made like that and then it doesn't win awards, they're typically not good.
Also, I don't think that, I don't think straight people can never play gay people, but are there any gay people in the leads in this movie?
Also true.
Yep. Great point. The next one on my list, I don't know if it's a hidden gem. It depends on if you like it or not. Kind of the same kind of thing. Adventureland with Jesse Eisenberg and K-Stu and Ryan Reynolds, I think.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is a terrible person in this movie.
He sure is, but he knows how handsome he is.
Yeah, this one again. I think everyone who needed to see this movie saw this movie. It mainly pissed me off because there's a point where he puts Husker Du's Candy Apple Gray into the tape deck, and it's a black tape, and that was a white tape. But other than that's the most memorable thing about this movie to me. So there you go.
It's fine. I'm trying to think if I would give it a better than Transformers, but truthfully, probably not. It's probably worse.
I think it's better than Transformers, but it also is the ending of it, I think, is what kills me, because I think this should have a similar ending to a 500 Days of Summer, because Jesse Eisenberg is also an awful person. Too old K-Stu. He's like maybe slightly better than Ryan Reynolds, but there's a lot of that like entitled, lead romantic character in it, and it just works out for him in the end, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I don't know. This is kind of an underrated gem for me, just because if you haven't seen the first Crank with Jason Statham, I don't think it matters. I think you should see Crank High Voltage, because it's just the same thing but just turned up to 11, and it's just a fun, dumb, action-y time.
The first movie is so ridiculous, and there's no way you can make this more ridiculous, and they do. But yeah, it's a good time. I think
it's a hidden gem, because I think most people didn't see. If they saw the first one, they might not have seen the sequel. But the sequel's worth it. Again, I don't feel like it needs more attention. But The Hurt Locker came out this year and only made $12 million. But then won Best Picture.
Don't watch this movie. This movie sucks. It's terrible.
I'm all right with it, but I don't really want to linger on it. Do we think that The Road is a hidden gem? Do you think not enough people have seen The Road?
Fuck The Road.
Okay.
Again, terribly sad. I don't know that I personally would watch it, but if you haven't seen it, give it a shot if you feel like being sad later.
There's sad and there's mean-spirited. Nobody needs this shit in their life.
Fair enough. Viggo Mortensen's pretty good in it, though. I like it. So I should mention that this is the beginning of the 10 million or less, and I've got a lot of shit from here on out. The next one is one of my personal favorites, and what I'm already calling is my hidden gem of the year, which is Duncan Jones's Moon, starring Sam Rockwell.
That's the best one on the list. I don't even care what comes next.
I love the fuck out of this movie. It's kind of a, I don't know if a twisty is the right word, but it's a sci-fi. I don't even know what it is. It's a good time. This was the beginning of good sci-fi again.
Where's Duncan Jones doing? When's the last time he made a movie?
He made that movie with what's his face, the Mute movie with the Skarsgård, the hot one.
Oh yeah, that movie sucked.
Yeah. Also heard, I think you still have My Moon from like 10 years ago.
As soon as you said Moon, it's like, God damn it! I'm gonna have to hear about your fucking Hollywood Video secondhand copy of Moon that I still have. I'm gonna buy you a fucking Blu-ray.
You better. I deserve it on interest at this point. I don't know if this is actually a good movie, but it's kind of worth seeing just for time context. There's a documentary called It Might Get Loud, where
is that the one with Jack White?
It is. It's Jack White,
Jimmy Page,
and The Edge just get together and have a jam session.
It's dope.
And the worst bit is there's just so many deleted scenes from this movie. So they like, instead of spending a lot of time with the three of them just jamming out, they like go into their backstories and shit. And fuck that noise. There's all these deleted scenes of them just like playing each other's songs and having a good time. And I like that should have been the whole fucking movie. It kills me when I watched it. But you can find most of the good shit on YouTube, but worth looking into. Also, the opening scene is Jack White making an electric guitar out of a plank of wood, a Coke bottle, and some wire. And it's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, 21-year-old Christian really liked this movie a whole lot. I don't know that 31-year-old Christian would still be a fan, but I really liked it in 2009.
It fits a niche. The next one I got on here is Bad Lieutenant, Port Call of New Orleans, starring Nick Cage in one of the most ridiculous Nick Cage movies I've ever seen, though I know that there are probably more outrageous ones.
This is not a hidden gem, but everyone should still see it.
I think it's great. I really loved it.
Everyone should see it. I love it, but I also agree. This is one of the ones I'm talking about. Really, everyone who's going to love this has already watched it.
It's possible.
Yeah. I don't love it, but it's a highly entertaining experience and watch it with people. Don't watch it by yourself.
No, I think that's true of all Nick Cage movies. That's like a Nick Cage standard. You should always watch Nick Cage movies with people. But yeah, I thought it was just a kind of a stupid, Nick Cage thing for about 3/4 of it, and then the ending came around. I was like, oh shit, this is actually pretty fun. So yeah, I recommend it if you haven't seen it. And now we're under $1 million for the year, and I know I got one here that I know that Christian might have on his list if he found it. Fanboys.
Yeah, I love this movie. I made all of you watch it. Well, I think Hurt skipped that night. But
Hurt skipped all the nights, but yes.
I made you watch it.
You did, and I had a great time. It's got Jay Baruchel and some other people. I can't remember who else.
That guy that's not Josh Gad.
Yeah.
And then, some people who seemed pretty big in the oddies, I think, but I don't remember.
I think Kristen Bell's in it.
Kristen Bell is in it. Gosh, I'm sure of it. I don't remember.
It's about them trying to break their sick friend into the Skywalker Ranch to see to steal the cut of episode 1 before it came out. It's just kind of a goofy adventure with a bunch of nerds through nerd culture.
Yeah, everyone should watch it. It's hilarious. It's got a really funny bit making fun of Bleeding Cool News, which is very now I think is even more on point than it was when it came out.
Nick, Bleeding Cool has not gotten better since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, for something that made less than $1 million, I think more people should definitely see this movie. The next one on here only made $240,000, which is Black Dynamite. The kind of I don't even know if I guess this is the right word of a pastiche of like the what is that? The 60s, 70s blaxploitation films. It's a action kung fu, super goofy, super fun flick.
Everyone should watch this movie. This movie's hilarious.
It's super funny.
Yeah.
The next one I have on here is like, ooh, we're stretching what I mean by hidden gem at this point. But I got a couple of other good ones. But I'm putting this one on here. World's Greatest Dad. If you like black comedies, this is as dark as it fucking gets. It's Robin Williams and probably one of his later roles as the father of a real shitty middle school, maybe early high school kid who's just an absolute asshole who accidentally kills himself trying to do autoerotic asphyxiation. And to cover it up, the failing aspiring writer, Robin Williams, writes a suicide note, which everyone loves. And so then he starts writing journals and things for his dead, suicided son.
God, this sounds like a movie that was made for an audience of you.
I mean, it is so dark, but it's pretty funny. And like they make that kid out to like, you want that kid to die so bad by the time that he does actually die. It's I'm not gonna say it's a good time, but if that's kind of your vibe, I recommend it if you haven't seen it. The next one I have on here, we're below 6 digits now. We're below what I make in a year. The first one I have on here is, I think it's a German horror comedy, Dead Snow. You guys seen Dead Snow?
Never heard of it.
Holy shit, guys. This is a great movie. It's a horror comedy. It's essentially a bunch of European hikers go out and stay at a cabin in the woods and accidentally awaken Nazi zombies. And it's just super like gory humor. Like at one point, I think a guy rips out a zombie's intestines and uses them to like climb up to a ledge, like a lasso. Like it's very silly and ridiculous, and it's a lot of fucking fun. And it only made $46,000. The next one I have on here is I think it's John Krasinski's first directorial movie, which is Brief Interviews with Hideous Men. It's based on a book where it's a woman who I think it's like her sociology PhD project is I don't really understand what it is. She talks to a bunch of guys about little vignette stories in their lives, which sounds real dumb, but it's a pretty good movie. John Krasinski's pretty good in it, and it's got a bunch of, I wouldn't say like C-list celebrities. And you're like, oh, he's in this movie. But it's a good time. I think it's it deserves more people than watched it, probably. Actually, what's that guy's name that's in Preacher? Dominic Cooper?
Dominic Cooper, yes.
This is the movie where I saw him as like, oh, he's a good actor. And then I've seen him in everything since, and he hasn't been a good actor. And then the very last one on my list, which is just for Zach and Luke Evans, who hosts the Broke Box Office podcast and are good friends of this podcast, is a movie that made exactly $3,865 in the box office. Pontypool, which is a like zombie infection story where the infection gets spread through like talking instead of like bites. Like it's kind of like a lose your mind sort of thing, but specific language cues cause you to become one of the zombies. I also don't know if it's good. It's not bad. It's definitely worth more than the amount of people that saw it. But if of the 368 movies that were listed on the box office report for this year, this was 360. And I saw it, and I was like, oh, I should probably mention this. It deserves a little bit more airtime. But that's it for me.
The only thing I can think of that you didn't mention that I thought you would was Crazy Heart.
I didn't mention it because I fucking knew that you would mention it.
No, you knew that I mentioned it. Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorites. It's the number one reason for not watching A Star is Born. Probably my two favorite actors ever are in it. Jeff Bridges plays a burnout country singer, trying to stage a comeback and not doing a good job of it because of alcoholism. It's really good. It's a bummer, but it's not a mean-spirited bummer. And, there is a little hope at the end of it.
Which is probably more than you can say for A Star is Born.
Yeah, totally.
Anything else from you, Christian? Any other favorites?
No, nothing sticks to mind. I mean, the big two that I had were Fourth Kind and Fanboys, which I feel like in any other year would probably not make the cut, but I guess for 2009, it's right on target.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, look, I like a lot of the movies that I've talked about in the last, 10, 20 minutes. But as far as like the big hitters in the box office this year, most of them were real trash. 2009 was not a great year for movies.
Well, it was right after the writer's strike. So a lot of the movies that we got that year were like rushed in development or written on site.
That's actually a great point. Yeah.
Yep. So like that's true for Revenge of the Fallen. This was the year that I think we were supposed to get the George Miller Justice League movie, Justice League Mortal, but it fell apart because of the writer's strike. Like
those damn writers.
I think that probably played a big part on it. Man, I want to see that movie. Everything I've seen about it makes me intrigued by it. But
would have to be better than what we've got so far.
Yep.
We haven't seen the Snyder Cut.
It's supposedly over 3.5 hours.
Hooray! Hopefully we won't be in coronavirus lockdown and we can have a watch party.
Yep.
All right, but I think that's it for Hidden Gems of 2009. They're deeper cuts than usual, I think. But there's some real classics in there. Black Dynamite, if I had to recommend anyone watch anything, I mean, I have to go with Moon because I fucking love Moon. But as far as like, if you just want to have a good time and you haven't seen Black Dynamite, you should fucking watch Black Dynamite.
Yeah. We'll really watch anything with Michael J. White anytime because you're always going to have fun, but specifically in that movie, you're going to have a good time.
Do you want to make a singular pitch if there's one movie they have to watch, Hurt?
I mean, oh man, if it's one movie that they have to watch, I guess I'd probably stick with Crazy Heart then. No, you know what? Fantastic, Mr. Fox.
Good call.
That is an all-time classic. Good time. Fun for the whole family.
Wow.
Yes, very true.
But yeah, that's it for Hidden Gems of 2009. Hopefully we've expanded your horizons and piqued your interest. But what have we been watching this past week, guys?
So I don't have much. Showed my wife another Ghibli movie this week. We watched My Neighbor Totoro, which is, an adorable. It's probably, I don't know if it's the most family friendly of all of them because I'm not saying they're not family, but this one's there's very little to have to explain in this, other than there's like a rabbit Snorlax creature and a cat bus. I forgot how intimidating Totoro's yell is. That's very intense. But no, it's better than Transformers. I love that animation style. It's a really like heartwarming movie. No complaints. Good time. And I watched the latest version, which is the Fanning sisters.
Yeah.
Then I watched a couple of movies from last year that I had wanted to see, and just being a parent, you have to be choosy. The first was Midway, Roland Emmerich's World War II epic. You know what? Not that bad. I'm going to go better than Transformers. I have no idea why this movie exists in the same universe that Pearl Harbor exists. This movie literally shows Pearl Harbor, and then it shows the Doolittle raids, which both happen in the Pearl Harbor movie. And then it also has Midway tacked on at the end for like the last 35 minutes. So it's like Pearl Harbor, half its length, but 3 times the action.
I mean, that's actually not a bad pitch for me.
Yeah.
The other thing that was interesting to me about it is it kind of looks and feels like a 1950s, 1960s World War II movie. Like the way it's shot is very similar to like Tora to me. But with just updated lighting and effects. If one of you watch, Joseph, you're probably no good because I'm sure you've never watched an old World War II movie, but
nope.
Jehu, I'm assuming you have. I would be interested to hear if you guys felt the same way. But the cast is okay. It's got Ed Skrein. Is that how you say his name?
I think it's Skrein, but maybe it's Skrein. I don't know.
Bad guy from Deadpool 1. Who he plays an American doing the only American accent that guy can possibly do, which is like the most stereotypical New Jersey, just like slimy, gross thing you can imagine. He's terrible, but everyone else is pretty good. And then I watched It Chapter 2, and that's probably the most disappointing movie of last year. I definitely think the first is better. This one is longer, and I think the cast is really good in it, but I didn't really feel connection with them. But the other thing that really let me down is I kept hearing about how much scarier it is. This is so much, and I found it to be the least scary film I probably watched of the 3 of them. Watching human beings get blown up in a giant rabbit monster thing, tote a little girl around in the woods, were both scarier than It Chapter 2, in my opinion. I don't know. It really, really let me down. I'm going to go worse than Transformers.
See, I liked that one, but I think it would have been better if they would have just left the kids out of the second one. It should have been a hard break between the two. And then it also maybe wouldn't have been like 4 fucking hours long.
It's really long. Bill Hader's really great in it.
Right.
Jessica Chastain and James McAvoy, I think I expect more out of them, and we're kind of let down by their performances. But, yeah, that's it.
I didn't watch a lot of relevant things this week. I did watch for the first time in at least over a decade. I watched the original Kings of Comedy. A lot of my feelings were the same on it. Steve Harvey is still the least funny person on earth. Cedric is at best a entertainer, and D.L. Hughley's all right. But nobody cares about any of that shit. The only part of the original Kings of Comedy that's worth talking about is the fucking Bernie Mac section.
Yeah.
And that shit is still hilarious, but goddamn, not 1 second of it plays in 2020. Like, every single word would get him fucking canceled. I remembered all those jokes, but I guess hearing it out loud is like, oh shit, that doesn't work anymore. Also, I think a weird thing about it is it seems that all 4 of them have this specific fantasy about life was better when there was a woman who would beat the shit out of you. Like when you were a kid and there was some older woman in your family who would just beat the shit out of you. And I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't think that makes life better. I don't enjoy getting the shit beat out of me. I didn't as a child, and I wouldn't now. The other thing from this week, there's a podcast I follow. It originated as being called Are You Talking You Two to Me? It's Adam Scott and Scott Aukerman, and it's a pretty funny podcast.
I have heard about what you're about to tell me about. It's hilarious.
So it started off. It was going to be like a temporary YouTube podcast that they were going to do till the new U2 record came out, but then it just kept getting delayed. So it kept turning into a longer and longer podcast. And, they do funny things on it. Like they have podcasts within podcasts. Like, say, if someone brings up a movie, one of them will say, is this an episode of I Love Films? And then that has its own theme music, and they go into that. Shit like that. It's a pretty funny thing. Once they completely ran out of U2 shit, they switched to being an REM podcast. And they did that for well over a year. Also, in the middle of this, they've done some podcasts about, for instance, there's a comic named Todd Glass, and they did a podcast with him as part of this same podcast called Stained Glass, where they talk about the band Stain. So there is already a thing in there that they could do one of these things on a band that they don't like and maybe just be kidding. So everyone was wondering what the fuck was going on with when they ran out of REM, that they switched to a Red Hot Chili Peppers podcast. Like, they were like, are they kidding? Are they really into this? And the first episode, it sort of seemed like they didn't know either. So in the middle of the second episode, they just stopped doing it and switched to being a Talking Heads podcast. And it's pretty fucking hilarious. And actually, I don't love the Talking Heads. They kind of get on my nerves, but I just thought that was it. Honestly, it kind of reminded me of us, of being so woefully unprepared and just saying, oh, we'll just do this other thing. It reminded me that very successful people can be unprofessional too. That's all I got.
I like it. Gotta lean into that pivot. I watched a fair number of things. I finished the anime series that I had been watching, which is that disaster anime called Japan Sinks, where Japan sinks.
Good time then.
Yeah. It's fine. It's made by the same guy who made Devilman Crybaby. I don't really like Devilman Crybaby, but it was like affecting, and so I was like, well, maybe this can make me feel something, but it didn't. It was fine. It's not bad, just not really worth anybody's time. For our Ghibli film, first off, I'm very happy you got to rewatch Totoro, because going through our Ghibli marathon that the wife and I are doing, Totoro's been my favorite one so far. I really, really dug it. But I rewatched, this is the last one that I have seen before we go into uncharted territory, Princess Mononoke, which I didn't like the first time I watched it, but I had a much better time with the second time. It's a bit more of an angry film. All of the environmental themes that are in all of these movies are with a bit more edge, I think, in this one. But, the main guy is a pretty nice guy. Everybody's got their own motivations. Nobody really a bad guy. It's a usual Ghibli film. I will say the one thing that I noticed that made our main guy, Ashitaka, not a good guy, despite the fact that he just wants everyone to get along, and why is everybody hurting everybody? That motherfucker is like the prince of his village. And at the beginning of the movie has to leave on an adventure, and his little girlfriend gives him a special thing to remember him or to remember her by. It's like a special gem dagger that I just have to assume is passed down in her family from generations. And as soon as he meets some hot wolf girl from another jungle, he just gives it to her as a gift. Fucking one, it's a re-gift, and two, he just threw that shit away. Motherfucker, what an asshole. I don't know. That really stuck out to me the second time. I watched the movie Netflix is currently pushing on us aggressively, as opposed to the previous movie that Netflix was previously aggressively pushing on us. The Old Guard with Charlize Theron, and it is super Transformers. If I had to give it an edge, I would give it worse than Transformers, but I mean, it's as close as I've seen a movie in a long time. It's such a waste of a good premise. The premise is they're all immortal people, warriors that have been living throughout the centuries in secret because they don't want to get captured doing good stuff for humanity as a whole. And I feel like if this movie came out in 2003, it would have been pretty good. Maybe even good enough for sequels, but now it's just super tired. And everyone, despite the fact that again, we're talking about people who are fucking immortal. I feel like there's a lot of stuff to mine there. They're just all super boring people, and I hate them.
Well, the writer who created this, Greg Rucka, his real main cross to bear, what he really wants to do in comics, is prove that women can be just as boring as men. He always does comics with female leads, and they're always boring as shit. And I don't know why he's so so popular. But this looked specifically like someone had seen the movie version of Wanted and thought, I should make a comic book like that.
Fair enough. I will say, despite its many, many faults, and again, I don't recommend watching it. It's not really worth your time. Charlize Theron sells the action in it more than anyone else in the movie, which she does in Atomic Blonde too. So this movie just made me want the Atomic Blonde John Wick crossover that I've been longing for more. And then the last thing I watched, because my brother-in-law had never seen it, despite the fact that he likes Westerns, is 3:10 to Yuma, which I was a little apprehensive about going back to because I hadn't seen it, and again, probably over 10 years. And I remembered it being really great, but then I'm like, ooh, but I was also kind of an idiot then. And so I was excited when I watched it to find out that it's still really fucking great. Christian Bale and Russell Crowe knock it out of the park. The supporting cast is great. I forgot that Alan Tudyk was even in it. And it's just like, it takes a little bit to get started at the get-go once you kind of meet Russell Crowe and they like start on their journey to the train. But like once we hit that point, it's like the pacing is just like whip quick. It's a really, really good time. I was surprised at how well it stood up to my memory of it. Way better than Transformers.
That movie is what I always think about when you're really hesitant to like give James Mangold any credit whatsoever.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take that back because I think this is a high level execution of what James Mangold is capable of. It's really, really, really good.
Yeah,
this might be the movie we've talked about most on this podcast that isn't Transformers.
I hope so. I don't think we could use that as our reference frame though, because most things would be worse than it.
Nice.
But yeah, that's it for me. Anything else from anybody?
I got nothing.
All right, let's wrap this shit up. Next week we're gonna do Pirates of the Caribbean, but not the good one.
But not the terrible ones either.
Not the terrible
you're like spoiling it because the idea is supposed to be that maybe it'll be good, but it won't.
Well, no, I just mean it's the one that you think of, the one that we all agree is the good one. It's not that one. We're gonna do the second two. Really just the Davy Jones arc, if we had to call it something.
Right.
What are the names of the movies? On Stranger Times and no, you're right. You're Dead Man's Chest and World's End.
Yeah.
Stranger's Tide is the mermaid one. That one's real bad.
Don't put that shit on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. Never again. We're gonna go back and see if maybe it got a little bit of a bad rap. Maybe it's a little better than we give it credit for. So join us next week for that, if that tickles your fancy. The creepiest way to say that. But I think that's it for this week. Thank you guys for listening. Please rate and subscribe. Tell your friends about the podcast. Word of mouth is really the only way that we spread like a disease among our communities. I'm really just killing it today.
Yeah, you are.
It's either us or coronavirus. You can if you want to tell us other hidden gems that we missed, or if there are just ones that we talked about that you want us to talk about more, you can reach us at realphonies@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at realphonies, and on Instagram at real_phonies. Thanks to Zach Evans for art and Brian Velasquez for our theme. And we'll see you guys later.
Later.